66, and then we see some of those growing figures. Once again, the New York Stock Exchange Index and the Standard & Poor's 500 with those fractional gains hit new record closing highs, and the Value Line Index, broadly based, up 0.22. Trading volume today simmered down to 132.5 million shares, but that's still very active. Up volume exceeded down volume by a comfortable margin once again. And for the 18th consecutive sessions, advancing issues still edged out losers. Not by many, 17 more up than down, but that's still a record, 18 in a row. 164 new highs for the year and only 5 new lows. Topping the active list on 2.25 million shares, AT&T off 1/8. Then came Unocal up 3 3/4 on renewed speculation that T. Boone Pickens might make a bid for it. Southern Company, no change there. Exxon edging up 1/4 in a firm oil group. Centronics Data was up 3/8 of a point, 5th in activity. Holiday Inns moving up a point. National Semiconductor gained 1/4. Sperry Corp up 1 point on the close, but it traded up as much as 2 3/4 points on the day. There were rumors of a takeover. Some even said AT&T is giving the eyeball to Sperry. Tenneco down 1/8. Chrysler 10th in volume showed no change. American Can tumbling 3 1/8 points. Story here is that an analyst at Merrill Lynch and another one at Payne Weber, well, they both issued sell recommendations on American Can. DuPont lost 1/8. No change in Kodak today. General Motors edging down just 3/8, and IBM off a mere 1/8. Sears Roebuck was down 1/8. It was the subject of the Herd on the Street column of today's Wall Street Journal. It discussed insider selling by some Sears officials, but this company says there's nothing to it. U.S. Gypsum was down 3 1/4 points on renewed fears the company may go through costly litigation expenses with those asbestos lawsuits. C3 Corp up 1 1/4 on news that the government has ended its inquiry to the alleged improper bidding by the company on the White Sands Army project. Brown and Sharp Manufacturing gained 2 1/4 points. The company is going to sell its fluid power operations to Libby Owens Ford. No figure mentioned. Corroon and Black continuing to move up 3 1/2 today. There's takeover speculation there, nothing confirmed. On the downside, Weebold Stores losing 3/4, big percentage drop. The company's stock has been strong. The company recently received a $13.50 a share tender offer, but won't say from whom it is. Augat down 1 1/2, saw no news to account for that. And Delta Airlines down 1 1/8, accounting for the weakness in the Dow Transport Index on those false rumors about Continental slashing airfare some more. Over the American Exchange, a loss of 0.33 in the index. Trading volume well down from yesterday's pace, but just a few more issues up and down, 5 to be exact. Topping the active list on the 500,000 shares, Dome Petroleum up 1/8. AM International gained 3/8. Wang Labs down 1/4. Citadel Holdings rose 1/2. Ultimate 5th in volume down 3/4. Lee Pharmaceuticals, after gaining just over a point yesterday after tripling first quarter earnings, up another 5/8 today. Good percentage move. Galaxy Carpet swept down 1 3/8 on the news of a 67% drop in first quarter earnings. Over-the-counter trading up 0.12 on the index today, and trading volume a hefty 92.3 million shares for the month overall of January. That's a record NASDAQ volume. 1.7 billion shares changed hands, and for the 17th session in a row on NASDAQ, more issues up than down. That's a record. Topping the active list, Apple Computer down 7/8, and then Hook Drugs up 9 5/8. Tremendous move. Right 8 has bid $31 a share on a buyout. The stock is moving higher than that. According to the Standard & Poor's Market Scope Financial Service, says there may be a higher bidder in the wings. Rumors of that. Tandem Computer on nicely higher first quarter earnings, up 1 1/4. MCI lost 1/2. AB Volvo up 1 7/8, 5th in activity. Intergraph lost 3/4. Intel down 1/2. Digital Switch losing 7/8. Safeco off 1/8. And Stratus Computer, which received a major contract from IBM, was up 2 1/4, 10th in volume. Mars Stores up 1 1/2 on a 72% increase in January sales. Jumpin' Jupiter. Alexander and Baldwin up 3 3/4. One of its directors, Harry Weinberg, says he wants to oust the majority of the board and look for someone to buy the company out. The bond market failed to rally on the news of that surprising 0.2% drop in the December leading indicators, but rumors that the weekly money supply report would be up sharply kept buyers sidelined, and so did the fact that the Fed did not add money to the banking system as expected to stop a rise in the Fed funds rate. New York Federal Reserve Bank President Gerald Corrigan's warning about loosening the credit range too much put pressure on the market as well, and despite some late improvement, bonds still closed lower for the most part. Let's look at the long-term treasuries. These 30-year off 9/32, and after the money supply report came out and after hours trading, they lost a little more ground. No change in the American Telephone Corporates of 1990. A 1 1/2 point loss in these Jacksonville municipals. Heavy selling there. And finally, the Fed funds rate edging all the way up to 8 7/8%. That's the Wall Street wrap-up. Dale?
Thanks, Paul. Most of